Tennessee basketball, 1-0. It was funny how you and I were joking, and everybody went crazy on YouTube that we were joking about Tom Izzo's comment that Tennessee was a Final Four team. And we were joking that, why would he say that? Does it make him look better? Blah, 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 blah. So let's just go ahead and reset it right now. When you watch this team, when I watch this team, I'm going to ask you, are they one of 5 teams that could make the Final Four? One of 10 teams, one of 25 or 50? So if I ask it in that way, 5, 10, 25, or 50, how much are the Vols in the mix after seeing week 1?
Well, you're right. There are always 50 teams that can make a Final Four because one of those lower level teams can always get in. But in terms of likelihood, I give them.
Yeah, that's sneaking in. That's not a good year,
could legitimately
right?
get in. Yeah. After watching this game, I will say, look, I gotta go 1 of 10. I can't go 1 of 5, but I do go 1 of 10 because Barnes did play small ball again. Vescovi was back in the game. Ziegler was finally able to come back and get a sweet wet. Now, you could say it was a little disturbing that Tennessee only scored 80 points. Again, you want an offensive team when you're playing a team like Tennessee Tech. You want them to score 100, 110 points if you're what you expect them to be. But he was working Josiah James back into the lineup, and he was working Santi Vescovi back in the lineup, both of whom missed the exhibition game. So I think they were resting. So I still say 1 of 10. I think if those two were fully healthy and had been playing in the exhibitions, Tennessee probably would have scored like 95 points in this game, which is much better than just 80. So I think they'll be fine. I would like to point out for all of those people that came at us last week, they're like, that win over Michigan State was so good. Guess what, guys? Michigan State lost to James Madison yesterday at home. So you didn't do anything more impressive. You're bragging about beating a team in an exhibition that lost to James Madison in a regular season game.
But I say this every year. What conference is James Madison in?
The Colonial Athletic Association, or no, maybe they're even, since they moved to Division I in football, couldn't they be the Sun Belt or Independent? I don't know. They were in the CAA for a while.
Which is the Colonial
Athletic Association.
I have always said this, believe it or not. I want all of our posters to listen. I've always said if there is one basketball team in the Colonial that I can always recall at the drop of a hat, what team were we talking about again?
James Madison.
It's James Madison. That's who it is.
Well, also, to be fair, James Madison's nickname is the Dukes. So maybe they're like Duke when they play basketball. And so Tennessee fans, you got me, Tennessee fans. James Madison is the Dukes. And so I shouldn't be upset at Michigan State for losing. They only lost to basically a Duke adjacent team,
Okay, right. So they did play everybody. I did notice that. I was watching people go in and out as I was kind of on the road, but had it on one of those app things. So who stands out to you as far as newcomers? Caleb, you're dialed into basketball. Was there anybody that stands out to you seeing them under real action? Because this is a team we're going to enjoy following this year, especially if they break from what they've typically been, and that is a Tennessee team who plays a lot of defense, has to be able to hit the three, and I think we saw them stumble with that a bit last year when the three wasn't falling. But I think this team's going to be slightly more up and down, we hope, Caleb.
Yes, Jordan Gainey is the newcomer I like. And he came off the bench. He had 14 points. He was 2 of 4 from 3. He's the guy that really, to me, showed that Rick Barnes is willing to stretch the floor more. Now, Dalton Connect was the guy who started in front of him and had 17 points. Connect was 2 of 6 from 3, played a little bit more in the paint than you would want. I'm sorry, guys. You're not going to sell me that Dalton Connect had a dunk in an exhibition game. Okay, it was the most slow walk dunk of all time. But I will say
that's the one. Why are you doing this? That's the one that got us in so much trouble.
I know. It was. I don't care.
Know. Well, I mean, come on. We're having a perfectly good conversation. Help me with this guy on the message board. Perfectly good. It was a goofy highlight that ESPN pulled.
It was Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line, Dave.
It was not that. All right, move on. I'm excited about following this team. Everybody thinks we hate this team. We don't. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to double down on everybody that thought that exhibition game was legitimate.
No. I will say this. I think from seeing the first game, knock on wood somewhere, no injuries, because you remember what happened last year. And what's happened with Ziegler. It seems like they have gotten bit by injury bug at the worst possible spot. This seems like a team that enters the season at least 2 men deeper. Am I wrong?
Oh, I would say 3 to 4 men deeper. Because
Okay.
I would say that you got the transfers. Nobody's missing Uros Plavsic. No one's missing him. I'm sorry. It was there was a reason that that teams guarded the perimeter so aggressively last year. They didn't trust Uros Plavsic in the post. And so when you replace him with a Dalton Connect, Jordan Gainey, guys that can stretch the floor, you have an upgrade now. And so I think that's totally fine. So I think because of that, they're 4 to 5 guys deeper and they are better shooting the ball. So all seriousness aside, that Michigan State game notwithstanding, because now you should be concerned that they only beat them by 1, given the fact that they lost to the James Madison Dukes. But I would say that you should be excited about how they're able to stretch the floor with the guard play. And I think that is because, again, Dalton Connect, I thought, was the big red flag because he was brought in for defense. But then he scored 17 points last night and hits 2 threes. So if that's your defensive addition and he can shoot well from 3 outside, you got a lot to be excited for. I'd still start Jordan Gainey over Connect. I don't like Connect and Matt and Meshack in together. I think that is still Rick Barnes going a little bit too like, I want the defense because those are 2 defensive specialists on the wing. But I will say that I think that changes when Zakai Ziegler is able to start and getting fully healthy.
I do love this, a unique take from Rocky Top Tom, who can be a little critical and cynical at times, but says, I'm just happy we don't have that sissy Fulkerson anymore. That guy was softer than baby food and not worth a bump on a pickle. That's the strongest take I've had about Fulkerson in forever. He was a just fine basketball player. Did anybody expect him to be Shaquille O'Neal when he decided to come to Tennessee?
Okay, so here's what happened with Fulkerson, and this is unfair to him, and it's not his fault. So 2019, 2020, right before COVID hit and the SEC tournament shut down and everything, Fulkerson had the strongest finish to the season of anybody in the SEC that year. He had like a 7-9 streak where he scored 20 points. What you realize had happened was that Fulkerson SEC teams had not.
Where's he from again?
He's from East Tennessee somewhere, Johnson City, right? Isn't it?
Okay, go ahead.
What you realize had happened.
East Tennessee, so we got the power genes. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, so Fulkerson had not. What you realized was that Fulkerson had not. Nobody had prepared for him because Tennessee was going to him a lot more because they had learned that Uros Plavsic wouldn't get eligibility to play, so they started going to Fulkerson all the time. The SEC hadn't prepared for him. The next year comes and the SEC realizes, oh, we can scheme for this guy. It ain't that hard. And then, yeah, he was a solid player off the bench, but never should have been a starter. And that was the problem with Fulky.
I'll tell you one thing. You not to sound like Al Pacino, but if you give me 10 of those guys with different skill sets, I'll win with him. I saw the post about Casey Clausen made his first start against Alabama, like 5 days ago or something. It was his first ever start. I got just on Facebook, and I was like, you give me 11 of him, I'll win a lot of games.
But the heart of Fulky, you mean?
Yeah, just that heart, that presence. I don't know. I liked him.